meeting, we are starting with a prayer.
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
I'll be doing the prayer, and then I'll introduce to Sir Mike first for the opening remarks, and then we'll have Manish.
It's live.
So Manish, did you hear that? They're gonna go straight to you.
No, I think they should go to you. Jay, we go to Sunilo, yeah? Or I will send it to you, Sunilo.
Okay.
Yeah, Manish, we are live.
Maybe Jay, you call me after Mike's opening remarks, so I can introduce the colleagues that attending this on behalf of Cloud4C and CRM Next. Then Manish, I will turn it over to Manish. Thank you.
Nilo,
All right,
Manish,
okay.
Mike, we are
Okay.
live.
Yes. Noted on that.
That's how we do it, Jay. After I finish, you will call on si Sir Nilo.
All right. Okay po. We're live po.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I guess I could share my screen first. Ladies and gentlemen, BMAP members, good morning. We will be beginning with our program in a few moments. Kindly settle down. Thank you very much.
Jay, I think you can start off.
All right. Okay. So we will be starting our program. Again, good morning. We will be proceeding first with our prayer before we proceed to the program. Let us put our presence, let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, we thank you for giving us the opportunity to gather here today as we strive to be of better service to your people. Bless this place with your presence and give us the wisdom to better fulfill our duties. Teach us to draw closer to you, to find your perfect will for us. Teach us and show us how you want your plan to flow using us as instruments. Lord, allow us to move to new levels of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and revelations through our friendships and our partnerships. Give us the strength and knowledge to continue our missions and objectives as an organization for the coming years. This all we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Good morning and welcome to the August 2020 virtual membership meeting of the Bank Marketing Association of the Philippines entitled Digital Maturity, Separating Future Winners, Losers in Banking. To start off, we would like to call on the President of the Bank Marketing Association of the Philippines, Mr. Mike Villarreal, for his opening remarks.
Hi, good morning to everyone. To all our BMAP members, friends, and guests, welcome to our August GMM or General Membership Meeting. I hope everyone is doing okay despite the pandemic. And allow me first to thank our sponsors, speakers, and guests from Cloud4C for today's GMM entitled Digital Maturity, Separating Future Winners from Losers in Banking. They will be introduced formally later, but briefly, let me just mention some of the names. We have Mr. Manish Kohli, Mr. Kumar Valibhab, and Mr. Mohamed Munibudin. And of course, he's no stranger to BMAP, Mr. Nilo Cruz. And also, of course, other guests from 4C. So thank you, gentlemen. Anyway, we're already into our 6th month into the pandemic here in the Philippines. And to state the obvious, it has changed our lives from the way we do work, the way we interact with colleagues and family, the way we produce, sell, and purchase goods, the way we entertain ourselves, and of course, the way we do banking. Many are saying that even if we are finally able to find a cure for COVID, this choice of lifestyle will continue even beyond COVID-19. The question is, will we be able not just to adapt to these changes, but can we also thrive in this so-called new world? With this pandemic, many banks have accelerated their shift to digital, depending on what stage you're in. The reality is that this new way of banking has hit us hard when the pandemic started, especially in balancing the benefit of sales and the risks that come with it. That being said, your BMAP board has been working hard to look for programs that would benefit you, our members, who are the marketers, communicators, and sales personnel of our member banks. And this will be the trend for the coming months, even beyond when Jo Marie Chan stops popping up in our Facebook and IG feed. So with the drastic changes around us, opportunities, but also challenges abound. So BMAP will be here to provide you relevant information that leads you, hopefully, to help you navigate in this new world. Again, we thank Cloud4C for this opportunity to hear what you're able to present to us, and we look forward to another fruitful GMM this morning. So with that, thank you. Stay safe, everyone, and magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mike Villarreal, BMAP President. And now we move on to our opening remarks with our partner, with our sponsor, Cloud4C. We would like to call him first, the Vice President for Alliance and GTM Partnerships of the APAC region, Mr. Manish Kohli, to give us the opening remarks for Cloud4C.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks, Jay. I will just introduce Mr. Nilo Cruz to make a quick introduction and get us started. Thanks, Nilo.
You're on mute, sir, Nilo.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mike, Manish. Quickly, I'd like to, again, thank the Board of Directors of BIMA for giving us an opportunity as Cloud4C with CRM Next to be a part of your August general membership meeting. I shared this with Mike. I heard this several times over the years. I was in banking. They're saying that while banking is essential, banks are not. Or I would say to MVP, or PLDT, while telecommunication is essential, telcos are not. Because of technology, everything's happening now in the cell phone. So our topic today talks about digital maturity. Where are we? And in terms of who's going to be the winners moving forward and who's going to be the losers. So what we'll be sharing with you this morning is how we could look at where we are right now and where can we get additional information or support, how we could be moving forward as winners to the next future. Just to kickstart the session, I'd like to call back again Mr. Manish Kohli of our VP for Alliances and also Sales, headquartered in Singapore, for his introductory presentation. Manish, take it away.
Thank you so much, Nilo. Thanks, BMAP and the members of the BMAP community. Thank you for your time attending to this webinar. So I'll just share quickly in terms of what we are going to do for the next 45 to 60 odd minutes. Just a couple of housekeeping steps. So this is the QR code that you see on the left is a feedback form. Please feel free to capture it and submit your feedback with respect to the session. And also a couple of housekeeping items. So if you have questions during the presentations, there is a Q&A chat window. At the bottom of your screen, you will see a small icon, and you can put your questions in that. And either we'll address it on the panel during the live session, or we'll be sending you a response later. We will hopefully try and address as many questions as we can through the chat window. So let's get started. This is our brief agenda for this morning. We've just heard opening remarks from Mike and Nilo, and then I'll be speaking about what this means, digital maturity. What does that really mean? And what can you look forward to in terms of future winners? What kind of services, what kind of infrastructure, what kind of services they can provide for banking industry. I'll do a quick introduction of Cloud4C. I'll introduce our partners, CRM Next, And then we'll talk about a workshop. Yeah, hearing about all of this is nice, but what can we do within our organizations to take proactive steps to start on that journey for a digital future? And we'll also have an interesting panel discussion with all the panelists, and we'll have a wrap up. So we'll get started. So as Sanilo mentioned, I am from Cloud4C. I take care of alliances and go-to-market partnerships across the APAC region. Cloud4C essentially is a cloud agnostic cloud services partner, and we'll talk more about it. So let's, as Mike was mentioning at the start of the session, the industry, not just banking, but multiple industries are experiencing winds of change, which have been sort of accelerated by the current COVID environment. And when it started, it was not really foreseen that it's going to go on for a couple of years, but that's what it looks like. So what does it mean for us, right? In our organizations, we are always looking for operational efficiency. We are looking for agility. We are looking for better ways to do things and faster. And we also want to continuously introduce new products to our customers. Multiple competitors are introducing new products and services. How can we respond to those products and not lose market share? A perfect example is the current environment. DBS Bank in Singapore has a digital banking initiative, but a lot of older people did not adopt that initiative. They would just rather prefer to go to the bank, take their passbook, get it printed, and that's how they have been going on with their lives. But with the current COVID environment, the senior citizens are not allowed to go there, or not recommended to go there. Even if you end up going there, there's a long wait because social distancing, they can only allow a certain number of people. So all these challenges are bringing new services. Yeah, how your bank is able to launch these new services is a key differentiator. And also revenues are shrinking. Yeah, the businesses are not taking loans. The interest revenue is going down. The deposits are being used for the companies to survive. So the overall revenues are shrinking for banks and many different businesses. But you also need to forecast data. You also need to understand where your customers are going. You also need real-time analytics to predict your business. So those are some of the operational issues that the businesses are facing. So what's happening in the IT technology? So a lot of you may be aware that technology is now at the forefront of a lot of innovation within the industries. So what banks and many other businesses are doing, they are moving away from their monolithic applications. They're moving towards their microservices-based architecture, which essentially means that rather than having a long-drawn application development or service development lifecycle, you have smaller sort of modules in which you can deliver services. Think of applications on your mobile phone. Maybe it's a payment gateway, maybe it's a Grab booking service. So these are all microservices that are becoming increasingly more prevalent in the marketplace. And user experience, right? So a difference between one taxi service and the other taxi service, or one food delivery service and the other service, is essentially user experience. Yeah, at the back end, they may have the same same infrastructure, same vendors, but you would adopt a service which has a better user experience. So that's critical. And then there are a few other things, multiple data sources across multiple applications, and there's no single source of truth. So all these are various aspects of IT technology that are also changing. And competition. So I spoke about competition briefly about the taxi service and other banking. So it's not just the traditional banks, but a lot of fintechs are coming up. Yeah. So they don't have any baggage of huge infrastructure cost or an office or thousands of people or hundreds of people. They are very lean, 15, 20 people, 30, 40 people organizations. And we are seeing many of them. And they would just put everything, all their application, all their services on top of the cloud, and just start offering services from that sort of infrastructure and platform. And that brings them a substantial competitive advantage. They're able to launch services much faster. They're able to respond to the market requirements much faster. They're able to do so many things in a much better way. So how do we help the banks to become the fintechs of tomorrow? Yeah, so we'll talk about it. A few other things. Yeah, I've covered more or less what the competition means for the industry. And then finally, banking is in a position, unenviable position, that you have to comply to regulations, to local regulations. No other industry is expected to comply as much as the banking industry is. And security is obviously prime in your considerations. Customer data, breach of their data is not great for any banking customer. So this is across just a few pillars of the industry where we are seeing the winds of change, so called, which is affecting all the businesses. And how do we move away from this? So how do we adapt to this new environment and prepare our companies for the digital future? So there are a few facts on the right hand side, the three boxes. The biggest global banks are saving in excess of $15 billion adopting the new digital future platform, and they're cutting technology cost as much as 25%. Yeah. Within APAC region, 45% of the banks have already moved to digital channel and digital workloads, whether it's a private cloud, whether it's a public cloud, and they are seeing that is the wave of the future. They are adopting to that trend by moving their applications to a digital infrastructure. And finally, banks can cut costs. So what better time to cut cost rather than, at this time, given the COVID scenario. So a lot of people a lot of customers across industries are looking at the situation. Some of them are choosing to sort of not do anything and not spend money and not do new initiatives to conserve cash. Yeah, because they don't know how long this is going to last. They don't know what the revenues are going to look like in the next few months. And there are other customers, other industries which are expanding and spending more and leveraging this crisis to leapfrog other competitors, because the fintech companies are still taking share away. Yeah. So if the restaurants are losing business, the food delivery services are getting business. So it depends where you see yourself. Are you willing to not do anything and see your market share go down against these fintechs, or there is some initiative internally within the bank to try and see how we can leverage this crisis to leapfrog the other market competitors. So the solution that we're talking about is not just for large banks. It's not just for cooperative banks. It is not just for small emerging banks. It is across the industry, small, large, new and old banking institutions. And we'll talk about how that affects and what kind of solution we provide. So in terms of, so yes, making a decision is imperative, right? So you understand what's happening in the industry. You understand now how you need to adapt and what should be the fundamental building blocks for your business. These are some of the challenges that we are seeing customers sort of struggle with. So the first one is, yes, you've decided, okay, that I need to adopt to a digital future. I need to adopt to some of these technologies, DevOps, RPA, AI, and so many other things. What do I do? Yeah. So these are the challenges that I see. Which one, right? So there are so many cloud partners, with it's AWS, it's Azure, it's private cloud. A lot of local telcos are offering private cloud services. So how do I decide which vendor to go with and which application to sort of digitize and put it on the cloud, how to migrate. So those are some of the first set of challenges. Then a lot of your current services, whether it's core banking service, whether it's a digital banking service, whether it's your credit card infrastructure, may not be cloud ready. Yeah. You need to do some kind of readiness assessment across your 200 odd applications and see which applications are cloud ready. And then you can say, okay, I need to move these 20 applications. Either they're not mission critical or they are cloud ready, and I want to just move them lift and shift to a particular cloud platform. Then across your infrastructure, your multiple vendors, could be hardware vendors, could be software vendors, could be SaaS applications. And we can help you identify which vendors are cloud friendly and which vendors potentially you need to move away from. We'll help you with security. We'll help you with compliance regulations. We'll make sure that whatever you deliver to your customers in your local market is as per the local regulations. Yeah, and essentially what we are saying is we'll make your organization undisruptible. So you need to prepare for that, and you need to prepare that for that with sense of urgency. If you have any questions so far, please feel free to put them in the Q&A window, and we'll look at it as soon as we can. Moving along, so I'll call upon the first poll. So we just want to know how you are looking at next steps in your digital future journey. So you have about 30 odd seconds. What would potentially be your next steps? If you were to make your bank digital future, prepare it for a digital future, would it be core banking? Would it be a CRM, a customer relationship management system, cloud-based? Would it be automation? Would it be DevOps, which are essentially cloud-based development operation for applications? Or you would modernize your infrastructure, your hardware, your servers, your networks, or you would talk about collaboration tools, modernization tools, Zoom, potentially Teams, and all these remote working solutions which help the companies come together. So those are the options. Friends, let's have a vote. So I can see 38% have voted. 10 of the 26 people have voted. Maybe we can request the rest of the attendees to vote as well. It'll be great feedback for us to address your concerns. Okay, 50% voted. Can we ask the rest of the attendees to vote as well, please? Okay, I can see 11 people have not voted still. All right, so maybe, yeah, so let's share the results. Okay, so there we have the results. What would potentially be your next step in the digital future journey? So 13% have said core banking. That's interesting because core banking is the most vital application within the banking system, branch-wise billing, monthly subscription. So it's good that customers are starting to move away from a capex spending to a monthly subscription based. Also, 13% have voted that they would like to see a CRM, intelligent CRM. That's interesting. So some data for Kumar later. New technologies, DevOps, automation, good interest, level of interest. And a lot of them, the largest 40% are saying that they are looking for remote access, secure remote access, and workspace modernization, which is not surprising given the COVID situation. So thanks for that. Let's move on to the second. We have a second poll. Rishik, can you? So what are the top challenges you see towards a digital future? So is it concerns about cloud model? So there is a second poll, audience, for your vote. What are your challenges? Yeah, what are the challenges that you see in turning your organization towards a digital organization? Is it a security concerns? Is it not knowing where to start? Is it not having the right partner to work with you, alongside you? Or it's about skills within your organization? And understand you may have limited visibility across your IT landscape. I understand this is a marketing audience, but just give us your feedback to the best of your understanding and your knowledge, and then we'll work with that. So we have 30% of the audience has voted already. Can I request for the rest of the audience to vote as well? Okay, so we have 12 out of 27 voted. Okay, just last 5 seconds to put in your votes, please. All right. So we can show the results, Rishik, and I can see the results almost 80%. The largest majority has basically said they have concerns about the cloud model, security, network latency, lack of control to company data security essentially. So it's again, not a surprising result. There is still adoption in some countries is still lagging. So a lot of these issues have been there for forever, right? In last 5-7 years, as the other countries have started adopting cloud model more aggressively. So the same kind of survey, excuse me, the same survey when we do in Singapore would have a lesser, maybe 50% of concern about security and network latency. And it could have to do with multiple things. I mean, network, obviously Singapore is a smaller country with a smaller network, so we would have less issues, but interesting feedback. Thanks, audience. So let's move ahead and let's, with our presentation. So we have another poll question, which we just covered. And then let me just a quick few minutes to introduce Cloud4C. So Cloud4C is essentially a cloud services, managed services partner. So we are the largest automation-driven cloud MSP, and we have presence across multiple high-growth economies, including the US, EMEA region, as well as Southeast Asia. 25 countries across 52 locations. We have our headquarters, global headquarters out of Singapore. And we are, interestingly, a large SAP partner. So what does that mean? So when SAP, as you may know, is one of the most mission critical application that a business may have. So about 180 plus customers, 200 plus, or maybe 500 plus overall customers, SAP customers, have put their trust in our business to manage their operations and their mission critical application. So we have been successfully providing services to these 4,000 plus customers and 500 plus SAP customers. And we have 60 plus customers out of Fortune 500 customers and 100 plus out of the Economic Times 500, which is the Indian top 500 companies. And how do we do it? So we do it in a way of standardizing our processes or automating our processes. We do it in a unique approach, a customer-centric approach. And we are supported by a strong technical expertise, centers of excellence, as we call them, which are across multiple pillars, whether it's database, whether it's network, it's security, it's Oracle, and so on. So we have almost 1,000 plus people strong at the back end who are technical experts who support our go-to-market and our customers. And these are some of the strategic partnerships. So we have a strong partnership with SAP, Microsoft, AWS, and Google, as well as Oracle Cloud. So we work with all these partners to provide a best of breed solution. So we are agnostic. We could work with a chosen partner that you prefer, and you provide the right solution on top of their platform. A few more details about the company. So we have 3 of the top 5 banks, 2 of the top 5 media companies, pharma companies, and we are working with multiple hyperscalers, which are essentially the cloud partners, and many other large global multinational brands. And as far as banks are concerned, these are some of our banking customers. So DBS is a customer, Union Bank in Philippines is a customer. We are starting to work, like I said earlier, with a lot of FinTech companies. So GoBear is a fast growing FinTech. GoPay is a subsidiary of Gojek in Indonesia. So they have a digital wallet and additional services. They are a customer for us. Paytm is the largest digital wallet company in India, and they are customers as well. So we work with a mix of traditional global large banking customers, as well as fast growing new FinTech companies. So help them across the breadth of the ecosystem. And how do we help? We essentially understand your ambitions and accelerate your ambitions, define your cloud strategy, modernize your infrastructure, identify what are the areas of operational efficiency, make sure whatever you put in place is compliant to the regulatory framework, and put DevOps analytics so you understand your customers better. And we help you across the whole journey. So it's not just a one-time engagement. We come in, understand your requirements, and then we are with you every step of the way. This is just a snapshot of how we do it. So this is an application management framework. At the top gray box, you see multiple banking services. So in the past, or traditionally, a customer would choose an application from a vendor, from an ISV partner, and then they will say, okay, I want to work with your application for my retail banking service. And then they will say, okay, you must buy so much hardware, so much infrastructure, server storage, and so on. And then it takes 2 months of procurement cycle, and then 2 months of deployment cycle. And after 6 months, 2 months of testing, 6 months, they're ready to roll out that service. But with this particular model, the whole backend is ready. Yeah. So you choose a particular platform, or choose a particular application, core banking application or internet banking application. And this reference architecture allows you to launch that service within weeks, not within months, within weeks. So it allows a faster go to market. You identify a service which a competitor is providing, you want that service. You identify a vendor, or you come to us as a partner and say, I want to launch this service, how can you help? And then we bring the best partners for you to launch that service within weeks. And all this infrastructure at the back end is set up for you to leverage. You can choose a cloud platform. You can identify what services you want, whether you want monitoring, whether you want DevOps, whether you want security, whether you want messaging on that application. And that whole service is set up as per your requirement. So that brings me to another poll question. So let's have some more feedback from the audience. What components of digital transformation you think will ensure better preparedness for business in these times during and post COVID? So what do you think are the components? Rishi, can we have the poll, please?
I think there's an error that's coming up, Manish. Try putting it at a later stage.
Okay. So moving along, let's get this question at in a few minutes. So just a couple of case studies, and again, I will not go into details, but this is a European customer. GDPR is the Global Data Protection Regulation, which is a European requirement from regulators in the European Union. And this customer had to adhere, so they had a strict guideline or a deadline to adhere to GDPR. And they wanted a quick fix solution to modernize infrastructure as well as comply to the GDPR requirements. And they sort of came to us, how can you help? And we essentially gave them a platform, a solution which is GDPR compliant. And we made sure that their application, which require compliance, are able to run and are managed for continuous availability on that particular platform. So they increased the uptime to 99.99%, which is obviously great. They were able to comply to regulations, 100% of the regulations. They did all the testing and all the other requirements that the bank has to provide to the local or the regional compliance authority. So data compliance was the requirement in this particular case, privacy and so on. So this was a happy customer for us in Europe. Then closer to Asia, India, as ICICI Bank is one of the largest banks in India. Again, they were in the process of launching a new service to manage the road tax toll systems. So they wanted a scalable reference architecture or a scalable platform to run this particular. Rishik, can you remove this? Right. So they wanted this particular service to be launched. And then again, we launched the service, substantially reducing the TCO that the other vendors had showcased for the bank to do something like this. So they essentially linked the banking platform to the road tax platform, which allowed customers to put a cash card in their in-car device. Whenever they would go through a toll, then automatically the money will be deducted from that particular customer's bank account. So this was again a substantial win for us in India. And we don't just do it alone. We do it with our many partners. So these are some of the industry leaders within banking, core banking application providers, ERP application providers, BPM application providers. And we also have a customer relationship management partner, somebody who's with us today. And at this point, I will invite Kumar to share more about. Kumar is a VP and head of Asia Pacific for CRM Next. I'll just stop sharing. And Kumar, you can start sharing your slide, please.
Please let me know once you can see my screen. Thank you, Manish. And big thanks to to BMAP and Cloud4C for making us part of this historical
Kumar,
event, I would say.
we're not seeing your screen. You need to share.
Give me a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's coming on. Yeah, you can just make it full screen. Thanks.
Sure. Okay. So once again, thanks BMAP, thanks Cloud4C for making us part of this historical event, I would say. Why I call it historical is because we are all used to being in front of each other, talking to each other, shaking hands. That's the best way of doing business together. But given the new scenario in the last 6 months, everyone has changed how they want to do business. So I would have loved to meet each one of you and flash my barong, which I'm very proud of. So I've been based in the Philippines for about 15 years now, having worked with the likes of MISIS, SAP, FIS and Guard, and now CRM Next for the last 5 years. And except for my passport and my Tagalog, everything is almost half Filipino. So for the Tagalog, I blame all of you, all the Filipino bankers and friends I have, because you speak good English. I don't need to learn Tagalog. So I decided to retire here with my family. And so I blame it back on all of you for me not learning Tagalog. But I'm happy to be here and happy to be part of this interesting times, and at the same time see how we can assist you. My friend and colleague from Cloud4C, Manish, has already shared some of the challenges. And again, I wouldn't literally call them problems. I would just say that these are glass is half full. So we are all seeing the half full side of the glass, and let's see how we can use that better instead of seeing the half empty glass and demotivate and get pessimistic about it. These are interesting, trying times. We had the same thing in 2008 when there was a big fiasco in the banking industry, and banks were responsible, I'm sorry to say. But this time around, banks are being made responsible to help people get out of the same situation. So I think this is a perfect time to make history with all of you there, and for people like Cloud4C and CRM Next to assist you in making history. So I'll talk a little bit about how we partner or how we work. Also share a little bit about
Kumar, we can't hear you.
Hello, is it better now, Manish?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we take pride in saying we are amongst the, we have implemented 4 of the 5 largest CRM implementations in the banking and financial service industry. And I'll talk about that in a future slides. What we'd also like to share is that we are globally present in North America, Middle East, Africa, India being our headquarters, and also Southeast Asia presence, where we have our own subsidiaries in Singapore and Philippines, and Vietnam, Thailand being our rep offices, and also in Australia. So this region as such, we have covered well, and we are happy to be part of Asia Pacific, where we have been there for almost 5 years now and expanding further. We manage about 1 billion customers through 1 million bankers that we service. So typically a CRM solution, as most of you would know, are being used by banks, where we implement at the bank's premises, and the banks are servicing their own customers using such marketing, sales, or customer service modules. So we are servicing 1 billion customers through respected bankers like yourselves, about 1 million plus. We drive almost 80% penetration, which means that if typically our largest sites like HDFC, ICICI Bank, who have about 70, 80, or 100,000 employees, we are used on a daily basis by almost 80% of their workforce, starting from the CEO down to the branch level person who's servicing their customers. We've also been awarded and respected, given respectable positions by Gartner, Celent, Asian Banker in the banking and financial service industry. We call ourselves a transformative platform only because we feel that there was a time when there was a clear segregation between operational and analytical CRM. But today the world is converging. So while we used to call ourselves an operational CRM only, now we feel that because of the changing world, we are also venturing strongly into the analytical side. And I'll talk more about it in my future slides. I spoke about 4 of the 5. Sorry, just Manish, can you all hear me clearly now? Is the audio
Yeah.
okay?
Go ahead.
But it's
All
all
right.
good.
All right, great, thanks. So I spoke about 4 of the 5 largest sites. So as you see on the left, we have State Bank of India with 325,000 users of a single instance of the system, which is servicing almost 23,000 branches in India, and it is accessed by 36 countries, with State Bank of India being one of the top public sector banks in the region. We have the other 3 sites, which is HDFC, Axis, and ICICI. So these 3 and State Bank of India together make 4 of the 5 largest CRM implementations for the banking industry. And here again, HDFC, Axis, ICICI have typically an average of 60 to 70,000 users in each of the banks. In terms of our Asia Pacific presence, we have 2 live clients in the Philippines, which is BDO and Security Bank. Using BDO has been a user, and both of them have been users of our system for more than about 2 to 3 years now. And with also we are servicing the largest chain, one of the largest banking entities called Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi, BTMU, and their member banks, which are Security Bank, Bank Danamon, and Krung Sri Consumer in Thailand, are also using our solution. I would like to just touch upon the fact that besides banking, we are also equally strong in the insurance and the non-banking financial service industry. And we have both life and non-life clients, as well as quite a few strong non-banking financial multi-finance companies who are put their faith in our solution. We've, of course, had maintained a strong position with Gartner from the last 3 years, and this 2020 we've been awarded as a challenger in the Salesforce automation, lead management, ability to execute space. And again, this brings me to the fact that even Asian Banker has recognized our efforts, and we've got these awards from various entities for our top implementations in ICICI, HDFC Bank, TP Bank, Vietnam, to name a few. So Manish spoke about what are the, how the industry is changing, what are the new scenarios that are coming into play. I'm personally, a client for a few of the banks in the Philippines and also in India, back in India. Some of the things that we felt were big challenges in the market were that many of the suppliers call themselves omni-channel or rather multi-channel. But where we feel that the difference now in the last 6 months, all of us have realized is multi-channel is now history. Omni-channel is now becoming the name of the game, wherein if you're sitting in the comfort of your room and actually starting a transaction or checking some bank's products on the internet and or on your mobile, and suddenly, for some reason your mobile phone lost battery and you want to switch to your PC, and then once you're browsing and checking the products, you should be able to continue the journey where you left it. Similarly, you called up the call center because you wanted to know more information. The call center is able to pick up where you left the journey on your internet, on your laptop, and explain to you what all things they can do for you. And if needed, either you can go to the branch and terminate the transaction and buy the product, or you can even sign a contract by digital signatures by uploading documents on your mobile. So omni-channel for us is the name of the game. And this has made us realize that you should be able, as bankers, help you service your clients, wherein they can originate and terminate their transactions from any of the channels. And that is why we say that omni-channel is the name of the game. And we are able to assist you in providing such a service to your customers. Today also, as I spoke about operational and analytical CRM, there's a big convergence that's happening in this space, and which is the reason why we don't call ourselves CRM Next anymore. Although the company is branded for the last 14 years as CRM Next, we call ourselves Business Next, and we are rebranding that only because we venture into a lot of other areas which are outside of operational CRM, only because we want to help banks like yourself service your clients better. So the 4 V's come strongly into play, which is volume, veracity, velocity, and variety. This is again the new world we are living in today, and that assisted by things like how or the analytical side by giving you action alerts, nudges, insights, giving you strong analytics, and also a strong AI engine behind, which helps you service your customers and see the trends of usage and recommend products. So that is where a thin line between an operational and analytical CRM has changed, and they've almost got merged into being one. And which is the reason why we rebrand ourselves as Business Next now, offering solutions in this area. I'll just a quick look at what we mean by Business Next. So Business Next is a platform that we offer to our respective clients, and that has various products that form part of such a platform, which is CRM side, which is the customer relationship management, marketing, sales, customer service. We offer things like a branch teller, wherein you can actually integrate with the core backend branch teller system and offer a teller and a seller function, which is able to give customers the benefit of going only to one teller and actually getting the whole servicing done for buying products and even collecting cash. Origination side, which is the loan origination for retail and corporate. Digital banking side, which is both digital acquisition and digital servicing for customers to access a bank's website and service themselves. So in a way, you're giving customers the control rather than just having a smart workforce sitting in your branches and call center. So you're merging the two and giving them the access through Customer Next, which is a digital banking platform. And coupled with that, we also now support through Business Next loyalty programs for accumulation and redemption, a chatbot tool. So all this platform that we are speaking about is further, we can categorize it into these almost 9 products that we service a bank with. And today, there was a time when core banking used to be the core system. It was like the heart of the system and everything else was peripheral. Today, what we feel is, and this is the reason why we are not a CRM Next anymore, we call ourselves Business Next, because all these areas of digital banking, CRM, loan origination, risk assessment, branch teller, loyalty, chatbots, and data models behind make it more like a Business Next platform. And this kind of partnership or participation helps us say that core banking and this kind of platform or Business Next platform are typically core systems and not a peripheral system anymore. I'll just share quickly something for a prospect of ours, wherein what they felt was that CRM was just a simple solution. How could they make it more user-friendly, or how could they service their clients better? So what we did for them was, typically all of us would have had a situation where we lost a wallet. I mean, I hope not, if you haven't. But if we have, we've typically found that to be the most frustrating moment of our lives. And in such a situation, when you call a bank and ask for card to be blocked, the first normal question a call center person would ask is, "Sir, can I have your card number?" Now, that frustrates us even more, because definitely you don't have the card number because you lost the card and you are not carrying all the data with you, wherein you would have the card number. So how, by finding more information about the customer, one can verify that, yes, this is really the correct customer by transactions or whatever information pertaining to the personal information of by doing a customer 360, know your KYC, you would actually be able to identify. And with that, help the customer block all the cards that are linked to that account, help the customer even go to the nearest branch and find out where they can withdraw cash and guide them to the local ATM in the branches. Help even a customer provide cash on delivery. So basically, if the customer is a premium client and you can see the balance of the customer, that yes, he's actually got the money in his account, you can actually provide through either a Lala move or a Grab cash to be delivered to him where he's lost his wallet, or even provide him something like a Grab or an Uber to say, "Sir, I'll organize a Grab to pick you up, to take you or to drop you to wherever is your destination, and we can all bill this to your account." So at least from a painful moment of losing a card, you're actually changing it to a moment of truth and trying to give the customer the great service. And at this point of time, you also, because you wowed the customer with the kind of service you gave, you are able to even say, "Sir or ma'am, you are qualified to be able to get into a platinum or a Visa card or a higher category card. Would you like to upgrade when I'm already changing your card?" And if I'm wowed so much, I would definitely say, "Fine, go ahead and just upgrade me, because I definitely want to work with you guys and use more of your products." So what we are trying to say is, in such situations where there's pain, whether the last 6 months is a perfect example, there's always an opportunity. It is for us to see how we can see that glass half full and grab that opportunity, or take it like a half glass empty and take a back seat. Lastly, that was just an example, because we felt that this was something that one of our prospects did, and they were definitely able to wow the customers in the market. I'll just end by a couple of case studies on how we have helped some of the large banks. HDFC Bank, which most of you would know in the region as one of the largest banks in terms of market cap. They have been using our solution both on the CRM side and now also on the digital banking side. And very soon they're also getting into a data next solution implementation where they will be doing data modeling also on our solution. And there we help them through sales, marketing, and service. We've been able to, as you can see on the screen, how much increase in lead conversion, increase in customer loyalty, increase in lead generation. We were able to do that. And they've been a customer now for 8 years for us. And again, here the workforce penetration was a big factor. Almost 73% of HDFC employees on a daily basis use our system. And in the back end, we integrated with 18 systems because HDFC, again, is a huge bank. And that's how we were able to help them service their clients. BDO, for all the Filipino bankers who are in this discussion, would know is the largest bank in Philippines and one of the largest in Southeast Asia. So there, again, they had challenges in terms of how the customers were being serviced. And through their call centers, we were able to help them implement a solution which helped them with the challenges as you see them above. They were able to get away from multiple siloed systems. They were able to do customer 360. They were able to reduce the lengthy call handling times. And in the back end, what one does not see or when you just call a call center, but what you do not see is how a typical integration happened at the back end to be able to service those customers for all the region, including Hong Kong and Japan, clients of theirs. So I would just end by saying that we have had the experience of working with respected banks like yourselves. I would also say that with Cloud4C, we have an interesting partnership because we offer something called commutable cloud, which means today if BSP is not able to give you a complete approval for running your solutions on the cloud or run partially, we offer the same code base of the product, whether it is on cloud or on-premise. But we work with you to make sure that if there is a transition happening from your on-premise solution to a cloud provider with Cloud4C, the product and the users who see in the same screen and the code base does not change. And that's how we help our clients in calling it a commutable cloud. And again, with Cloud4C, the biggest advantage for us is that they have strong infrastructures in many of the countries in Southeast Asia, where we are also strong. And if a bank chooses to go for a local cloud provider, then most of the places, even Cloud4C has their own data centers. So happy to offer this partnership to all of you. And I think Manish will be talking about how we can assist you in taking this to the next step. Manish, I'm more or less done with what I had to say. Maybe you can bring up the poll questions.
Yep.
I'm stopping to share my screen.
Thanks, Kumar. Thanks for the wonderful session. Nice and crisp. So I'll just take us forward and I'll just try and cover up some of the lost time that we have essentially because of my longish presentation. Let me just bring up the first poll question or the fourth poll question. Rishik, can we have the poll questions, please? So the audience, we need your votes on this particular question. What do you think will be the top trend to shape your business strategy for the next 5 years? The top trend to shape your business strategy for the next 5 years, whether it's going to be customer behavior, delighting customer, or it's going to be work from home, or it's going to be your competitive strategy in the marketplace, or it's going to be regulatory environment from the government and the compliance authorities, or it's going to be your cost, or it's going to be digital disruption. You see a lot of other banks embarking on the digital strategy, which would be disrupting your business. So how do you see your strategy changing over the next 5 years? Please help us with your votes for a better understanding of your issues and challenges so we can help you. We have only 24% of the votes in. So if you can put in your votes, we have about 10 seconds remaining. So we see a strong mandate for customer behavior and customer delight coming up as a key trend for the business strategy. Work from home is also one of the issues. The last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we have roughly 60% of the votes in. Yeah, so this is I hope you can see this on your screen. Almost 60% of the people of the audience has mentioned that customer behavior is the key to their business strategy. Digital disruption and work from home are the two other key trends that they see. There is another poll, so I'll just bring that up as well. Rishik, as soon as you're ready, you can bring up the next poll question. What are your current challenges for accelerating business growth? So here are your options. Respond more quickly to the customer and employee needs. Again, asking the audience for their votes. We have a second poll on your screens now. Audience, we need your votes for this particular question. What are your current challenges for accelerating business growth? Do you need to respond more quickly to customer and employee needs? Or do you need to improve collaboration within the business? Reduce operational cost? Understand about customer 360 view of the customer. So we have about 20% of the votes in, about 10 seconds remaining. Please give us your votes. All right, last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so we can close. We have about 60% of the votes. You can share the results, Rishik. So we have about 41% saying that the current challenge is responding to customer and employee needs more quickly. Yeah, so I think it's part of the COVID situation as well. A lot of customers have been and employees have been left unattended. Obviously, nobody could have prepared for this kind of a pandemic, but yeah, that is the key challenge that we see as well. And almost 29% are looking to reduce operational cost. So good information. Thanks for your feedback. Let's move ahead and see what else we have to cover. We are just quickly going to get to the panel discussion. Yep. Just quickly, so this is what Kumar was mentioning about how we work together, CRM Next. So we put the services that he spoke about on top of the cloud management framework, and we provide the service. I'll skip this one. And then I'll offer a digital future workshop. So the QR code that you saw at the start, we'll be flashing it again. But if you want us to get in touch with you for a digital future workshop, where we'll be talking about how we can embark on some of these services and embark on your digital future journey, then please let us know through the QR code. It'll come up again in a few minutes. And with that, let me introduce back Nilo to take us away.
Good morning again. Now we're back to, now we're going to the panel session. I hope, Mike, we still have a good time. I'd like to again introduce the members of the panel. We have, of course, Manish, who did the presentation, and Kumar. I'd like to again introduce our VP for Global ISB and BFSI Business, Mr. Mohammed Munib Budin. We call him Munib. So I would like to start the panel sessions by giving the first questions to Munib. Okay. We don't have yet key-in questions, so I think it's appropriate to ask this. What do you think about the new business models and the new IT operating models banks should be thinking about to get ready for the new normal, Munib?
Hey, thank you, Nilo, and good morning, everyone. So first of all, let me tell you, I'm Munib only. From the smart-looking guy on the picture versus me. I also took the liberty of, trying something new in the current pandemic situation on my look. So hopefully it's on the better side. So yeah, I think it was a very, very interesting, presentation by both Manish and Kumar. And I think you guys touched upon the right points because Banks, even though they have been traditionally been investing on the digital side, but with the current pandemic situation, I think there is a lot of acceleration on the digital transformation initiatives. And this will require significant changes across the entire stack. And, there are two sides of this story. One side is that obviously banks are investing on digital and, they are embarking on digital transformation. On the other side, we see a new face of the competition, right? You have these fintech companies and digital banks. But something that is really interesting for me is companies with no history of banking are actually coming, and bidding for banking licenses and taking banking licenses. I mean, Ant Financial is one such example, right? I mean, Alibaba going and getting into the banking and financial services space using Ant Financial. In US, Uber is experimenting with that, right? And I think going forward, if you look at the bidders for the new banking licenses, you see a range of technology companies. I've even seen one of the large gaming companies that is bidding for banking licenses. So what does this mean? This basically means that technology being leveraged for running the banking business has now become the base for the banking business. Now there are different areas where I see a lot of new IT investments coming in. One, we all understand with the current pandemic situation, communication and collaboration. That became the most important thing because I remember that, when our company announced that, guys, you all have to work from home, the first thing was that, how do I work remotely? I mean, how do I talk to my colleagues? I was used to talking to them, in my office and having those conversations with them. But working remotely, how do we communicate and collaborate? So that is where, even on the banking and financial services side, this is where I have seen heavy investments being done, right? The second area where we have seen major investments coming in is, if you look at the poll also, right? I'm very, very interesting observations that has come out of the poll. People said that they need to bring in a lot of agility. They need to be able to, enhance their ability to scale up around the digital touch points. Now, how is this possible? That this is only possible if you move towards subscription-based models. You don't need to keep reinventing the wheel every time. You need to find a way to plug and play and deliver the services to your customer. So that's one more area that I think there is a lot of disruption that is happening, and going forward there will be a lot of disruption that is going to come into perspective. Another area, again, very interesting is on the open banking side. I don't know how much of it is relevant in the Philippines market, but I was having a very interesting conversation with a multinational bank, and they said that, what, we are expanding into this new country. So I said, fair enough, right? How many branches are you now targeting to open in the next 2 years? They said, no, we are not looking to open any new branches. Going forward, the way we are going to expand in new geographies or in new markets is by collaborating with specific financial services companies. They could be wallet-based companies, they could be fintech-based companies, right? And this is a very different way of banks looking at expanding their business. So the physical is now moved to digital, right? They are looking at more innovative models of how they can collaborate with existing financial services companies or very niche providers in expanding their business. And we all understand that because of the current situation, obviously there's a lot of pressure on margins. There's a lot of pressure in terms of the revenue part. But there is a brighter side to it, right? A lot of investments are now going towards automation because everybody has understood that there is no point in putting people for manual and repetitive tasks. So what does this mean? This means that there will be very interesting use cases that are going to come out in terms of automation, machine learning, artificial intelligence. For example, I was watching an interesting panel discussion, and I came to know that uh, the severity of COVID, right, that is going to disrupt one of their artificial AI-based implementation, they were able to predict it much before it actually went and spread around the entire world. So these use cases can be used around loan disbursements. These use cases can be, used. The automation use cases can be leveraged around simplifying the customer onboarding process, KYC, etc. And the overall model is going to change to agile model around DevOps, modernization, and all. So I think these are some of the interesting use cases, that are going to come out, where technology will become the base of the operations rather than being used, in bits and pieces today. So that's my perspective, Nilo. Over to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Munib. Um, again, I'd like to pose a question to another member of the panel. We'll go back to Manish. Manish, can you give us a recent example of any digital transformation aiding new product innovation from the region?
So recent examples, we are talking to a customer in Singapore, and I think I put their logo on the presentation as well. Interesting customer. So they essentially were an aggregator. Yeah. So they started with the insurance business, an aggregator for insurance, but they were not online, they were not digital, and they were still trying to find their way around until they made a decision that they want to go digital and they want to become an online business. So from a typical insurance aggregation business, they became a fintech company. And as soon as you say fintech, then everybody starts to take notice. So they said, okay, we are going to put our aggregation business online, and we are going to make the customer come to our platform, and they can make a choice of what kind of insurance they want, whether it's general insurance, whether it's medical insurance, and so on. And then they said, okay, this is great. They started getting a lot of funding from VCs, because fintech is obviously fintech. Singapore government is behind them. They want to make it global. They expanded across ASEAN, and they expanded into multiple other services. So they have started doing micro lending. So they have expanded into Vietnam and a few other countries, offering loans directly to the consumer. So imagine you are a consumer, you have this particular application on your phone, and you say, okay, I want 500 dollars or 500 pesos or 50,000 pesos as loan. And you apply for that loan, they will do a real-time credit check and analysis, and they will approve that loan, and that loan will come to your digital wallet or it'll come to your bank account. So that is the new paradigm. That's what we are seeing. And I said, you're not a bank. How come you are able to lend money to these guys? And they said, no, this is happening. This is happening in all emerging markets. So maybe you're not seeing it. Maybe you're seeing it in small pockets, but this is happening. Yeah, very soon your customers will start going to other channels and start taking loans from other channels, which are non-traditional banking channels, as Munib said. So that's back to you, Sunil.
Okay. Well, you mentioned the word fintech.
Yes.
You know, fintech way back is similar to ATM. Way back in 1982, my first engagement with BMAP when I was still with IBM. During the time, if one does not have an ATM, you're going to be challenged, because customers will start moving from non-ATM banks to ATM banks. So everybody started buying ATMs. Now, fintech. If you're not leveraging technology right now, like when I was in the bank a few years ago, I'm getting a government bank to fintech. Otherwise, we will be starting to lose both our private and public clients to banks that are really heavy now on fintech, or DX as we call it, digital transformation. Yeah. Then going back to Munib, his comment, I remember, Mike, I have a list. There are only about 15 to 16 EMIs licensed in the Philippines. For a 100, let's say 10 million population, with around 75% unbanked, we only have 15 to 16 licensed EMIs. There's still a lot of room to flex with banking and other financial institutions to do some financial inclusion and reduce the unbanked further below the 75%. Now let's go back to Kumar. Kumar, based on your presentation earlier, how do you remake a banking customer experience to win the next normal moving forward, and hopefully soon. Okay. We can't hear you, Kumar.
I think, Sir Nilu, you may want to repeat the question for Kumar.
Okay, Kumar, how does one will remake the banking customer experience to win the next normal? How to remake banking customer experience or total customer experience to win the next normal?
Kumar, we can't hear you. Kumar, we can't hear you. The audio is not coming through.
Kumar, we can't hear you. Can you hear us?
Looks like you have an issue with your microphone.
Is this
Try
better now?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
that's
Try
better
speaking
now.
without microphone. That's what I
Okay, okay. Let me try it. Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Puneet. So
But you heard my question. Yeah, go ahead.
I heard your question. Thank you, Nilo. So what as I mentioned in one of my during my presentation, that you see what we are calling it the next normal, and I'll proudly say maybe we saw it coming. Our company, all our products are called the next: CRM next, business next, data next. So I don't think we knew 12 years back that everything will become what is the next normal for us. But again, going back to the point that in 2008, when we felt that the banks were the reason why there was a big, fiasco in the industry, and today banks are helping people come out of that situation, and that is what we have to accept as the next normal. And accordingly, if in today's scenario, as a banker, and again, please don't get me wrong, I am not here to advise bankers how to do business. We learn from bankers and we make our product. So surely we are not here to tell you how to do business, or we are here to assist you in doing your business. And we feel that because of the next normal and the fintech challenges that are coming, today, even a fintech company is ready to become a bank, or a bank is ready to become a fintech company. So banks taking that extra initiative is the next normal. So how you delight your customer, putting the customer into everything that we do as a bank, and how we actually use this situation to service the society better and take control of how the various products and solutions are being offered digitally, and taking it to the next step of taking it to their premises and not asking the customer. Again, in a year and a half back, I was in a presentation of Asian Banker in Vietnam, where we were saying, there was a panel discussion on saying whether branches are alive or branches are dead. Now, today, again, the situation is no one can say branches are dead, because definitely people are still going to the branches. And Manish mentioned about some of the senior citizens in Singapore going there, but doing partial business now, sitting at home. But we are not saying branches are dead. Having said that, what are the new ways banks can think of taking the services and products to the customer's house, to their rooms, to their desktop, to one sitting on the bed and watching TV, is the next normal. And that is what we feel we have to start thinking more innovatively and doing digital customer journeys. We mentioned one of the things that we do for a bank in Indonesia called Bank Danamon, which is and HDFC is our digital banking solution, wherein we help banks build customer journeys on the digital platform. And you give access to the customer in logging into let's say a BDO or a security bank or an RCBC, Robinson's Bank website, and actually looking at the products and applying for the products, and sometimes not even going to the bank and actually getting the service of the product that they need. So in that scenario, how we take that extra steps in taking the service to my room, to my premises, to my living room, is what needs to be the next normal. And I feel that that is where we can, and the governments are assisting too. I mean, if you look at BSP, it is one of the most aggressive and innovative, and for years and years, BSP governors have won awards. So I'm proud to say that in this region, BSP's initiatives in these areas have always been very, very, they've always set the trend. And because of such a support, the bank should capitalize on it and jump on and grab this opportunity like a glass half full, I would say.
Okay.
Back to you.
Thank you, Kumar. Yes?
Can I ask also a follow-up question to
Sure.
Kumar?
Go ahead.
I guess what I'm trying to ask is a difference between traditional banks, or let's say digital fintech companies, is that banks are subject to much regulation. No? So, one of the key areas is KYC, or customer authentication. And yet we recognize also at the same time that we also want to shift to more digital applications or ways through digital to onboard some customers. However, even with the traditional model that we have now, KYC has always been an issue with the banks. I saw in a slide of Kumar that he mentioned about customer authentication. So if, for example, we as marketers would like to convince our board or whoever that we would like to pursue this track in digital, how can we convince them that customer authentication works in a digital platform? No? Because if you remember, in the Philippines, that has always cropped up in terms of an issue in the banking industry.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the question, Sir Mike. See, I'll share an example of what, and I don't say that it is the best example, but it is an example which the world is now looking at. India was never seen as, I mean, it's a developing market, let's admit it. In terms of Indian banking, yes, there's a very strong aggression and people are taking examples from Indian banking. A few years back, we launched something called Aadhaar card. I'm not sure if how many of you know about it, but Aadhaar card was a single sort of KYC card, which had links to everything that you do, whether it's your financial information, your banking information, your employment information, your personal information, single, married, family, dependents. That gave us, as an Indian banking environment, an edge of moving ahead. And today, if you do anything in India, it has to have a link to Aadhaar card. I'm sitting here in the Philippines. I'm for the last 15 years, but if I do any transaction, financial transaction in India, whether it is buying a condo, selling a condo, anything which is substantial, I have to have Aadhaar card. So I feel that, and recently I read, because we do a lot of work in Thailand, we have recently signed up with, again, a BTMU bank in Thailand called Krungsri Consumer Finance.
Krungsri.
Thailand has also moved to Krungsri, Bank of Ayodhya, used to be called before. So the banks are moving into that scenario where you have to, and Europe and US had this social security code and other things for a long time. We have to understand that, and when you're talking of convincing the board, and despite all the issues that we have sometimes on infrastructure, on what can be done better, these kind of things, initiatives help us in bringing all this together. And I believe, to be honest with you, I believe with the aggression that is shown by BSP and the banks in the Philippines, it won't be long where something like this can be done. I believe this is already initiated as I read, that there are things that are being done in this direction. But something like this actually gives you a digital footprint. And even with all that is happening, if we are able to get this right, it will take time. You can't have an Aadhaar card or something like this done over 2-3 months and become winners there. It may be years before we get this right. But I believe once we get this right, this kind of KYC information would definitely help you in identifying who is your good, bad, average, medium customer, and go after the ones that really give you the best revenues. And for the ones that are not giving you revenues, you find ways of how their wallet share can be increased. That's what I feel. So Mike, hope I have answered the question.
The third card, Kumar, is like a national ID?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. We're getting to that here, especially now that for contact tracing, if only we had an Aadhaar card or a national ID, it could have been a lot easier, right? And then going back to mention about bringing banking into your room, we should start with the car. I know a lot of people doing work inside the car. And there's a lot of smart cars that you can install these apps coming from, in between traffic. You can do your banking while in the car. Okay. Now, I'd like to go back to Munib because in the last couple of months, a lot of messages I got, or we got from the banks about don't share OTPs. So we want to get some update on what kind of investments should a bank do in cybersecurity, should be making to bolster and earn the trust of their customers. Because right now, every time you see an OTP, everybody gets scared. Nobody wants to give their credit card online now. Everybody wants COD, cash on delivery, because of those incidents. Munib, would you like to answer that question, please?
Sure, Nilo. I think, I'll begin by saying that no security is 100% security. I mean, security is like an ocean. I mean, you constantly keep evolving your security posture based on the emerging threat landscape that is prevalent, right? And especially in today's time where you see a spike in the digital transactions versus the physical transactions, definitely security becomes all the more critical with key focus around what we can do for cybersecurity. And that's the kind of conversations that we are having with banks also. For example, what we have done at Cloud4C is that we have invested in almost 26 plus security tools that gives us the ability to provide 40 plus security controls. Now that gives a lot of flexibility, especially to banks and financial institutions to adopt the right security posture, because not every application might require, the entire set of security controls. So that's, I think, the first step of the journey is basically do a proper security assessment, right? You cannot go all out and say that, this is, I want to invest all out in security. Once you do a proper security assessment of your applications, you can actually bucket them under different, categories in terms of which applications are holding, highly sensitive customer data, where the database is also connected to the overall application, and which applications are only being used as a middleware or at the web tier, right? So different set of applications will have different security controls. So the most important step is doing a proper security assessment, and based on the security assessment, based on the outcome of security assessment, you should be able to align the right security control. That's one. I
Okay.
think another area that I would advise banks to look at is when you talk about public cloud today. Yeah, there are certain use cases that are there for public cloud, but whatever native security tools on public cloud could be enough, could not be enough. You should also have a 360 degree view of what are the additional tools that you can add on top of public cloud so that you get a 360-degree security posture. So I know we are running short of time, so
Yeah.
I'd like to keep my answer concise. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, cybersecurity. Just quickly, I know I was quoted one time when I attended the CEO forum in Bhutan when I said that cybersecurity is like a flat tire. No matter how you take care of your tires, your car, you choose the road to pass, you will always have a flat tire. What is important is you know what to do once you have a flat tire, because you will never be able to have 100% secure website or application. You have to be always prepared. Anyway, one more question. Do we still have one more question? Or are we
We
closing?
have one last poll. Yeah.
Okay, one last question. I'll give it to Manish, and then Manish proceed on to make closing remarks. Manish, what is your take on slashing costs by modernizing a bank's IT landscape? Okay.
Yeah, so in terms of, thanks Nilo for that question. So in terms of slashing IT landscape, I think I covered some of that in my initial slides. So I think the first thing is the banks need to do an assessment, right? So we spoke about reducing your monolithic application infrastructure, your on-prem infrastructure, your just moving towards a new way of doing business. So the competitive advantage that fintechs have is that they don't have the baggage of the traditional banking model. And so I think the best way forward would be for just the audience and the customers to sign up with a provider of their choice to do an assessment of their business, like what we are also recommending. So there is also a poll in progress as I talk, which is talking about if you're interested for a digital future for your workshop, let us know, and then we can help you with the workshop. So I think because it's complex, because all the customers have multiple application, multiple complexities within their infrastructure and their environment through which they offer services to the customers, it is imperative that we need to do an assessment of where they are and where they want to be. And that would help us give them a blueprint of cost optimization and revenue maximization and customer delight, like a lot of the audience pointed out. And that would be a good first step. So let's see, this particular vote is coming to an end in about 10 seconds. I see a lot of people are interested in this workshop, and I will just flash that momentarily. You can end the poll, Rishik, and then So we see the results now, almost 67% of the audience is saying that they are interested in the workshop, and I think that's a good outcome. I do see a lot of people are trying to do something to improve the competitiveness of the business. Before we close, maybe just one question back to you, Nilo, as well. I think you have been next CIO of a large bank in Philippines. You have been obviously a consumer of the services that will be offered by multiple banks in these days. You have continued to share the banks winning awards for their digital initiatives. What do you see is the in your perspective as an ex-banker, for the audience? What do you think? What are your recommendations for some of your friends in the audience today?
I'm sure most of the bank management teams are doing their blue skying in the last couple of months, Mike. And I have attended several of those as a customer or as a user and a supplier. FinTech is really the direction, like I mentioned a while ago. Leveraging on technology, using cloud services, OPEX versus the usual CAPEX. Subscribe rather than buy, because technology, there's also something new every month. There's something new. So you have to keep up. You can't be staying with one application while the others are improving. So really leverage on technology, use the OPEX services, OPEX-based services like cloud, FinTech applications that are available in the market. Like India or other parts of ASEAN, the Philippines, we have a lot of IT literate. We have the resource to make the development faster and less expensive and quicker, right, Mike? So you've seen in the newspaper, banks are giving new names of their online banking system, okay? So it's really FinTech, I would say, Manish. Okay, so that's my takeaway before we close this session.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Nilo. Just one final comment. So if you want us to get in touch with you, please fill up this feedback form. There's a QR code. Please scan it. You'll have a questionnaire, fill it up and submit it. Also, I've put some contact information for the local representatives. Do get in touch with us, and then we will see how we can help you. Thank you all for being on the session, for the time spent. It's almost 30 minutes past the original time.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for staying with us. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mike, back to you for closing comments, please.
I think Jay, would you like to close us, please?
Okay. Just
All right.
QA.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Right. Okay. So that said, thank you very much. And if there's anything else that you would like to discuss, you can discuss it with Cloud4C. They had their contact details earlier. So with that said, again, good morning to all the BMAP members. And I'm not sure if we have if we can have a group photo. But for
Rishik,
now,
can you do that?
We can actually. Let me just stop
You
sharing.
stop sharing the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that.
Maybe everybody can put their videos on. I don't know if
Yeah.
Put the videos on, yes.
Yeah, but this is just, I can only see the
change it
We can have a
to
singular photo.
grid view.
Yeah, yes, please, Rishik. If you can get the grid view and the attendee view, probably
Yeah,
combined.
grid view, and the people and everybody who is on the screen should share their videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rishik, are you able to combine panel
See,
and
everybody's good looks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From
combined.
India, it is fresh looks in the morning.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You're 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
You're 2.5 hours ahead of you.
For me, it was 7:30 a.m.
And Sanilo,
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. This is really a barong. You can see.
Oh, okay.
So next time we
No,
should see
I've
you also in a barong. Huh?
I saw you in a barong when we had the picture taken, remember?
That's right. It's my-
Steppy saying hi.
It's
And
my
then,
favorite attire.
okay. So for
Are
the
we taking the picture?
participants, I'm not sure if it's possible to see the participants, but we already have the speakers on their cameras. So all right, okay, let's do it one more time. 5, 4, 3, 2. Say cheese.
Cheese.
All right, so that's our speakers and, of course, Mr. Mike Villarreal, BMAP President. And that said, good morning to everyone. And
Keep safe.
have a great day. Have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.